All right, welcome back to the IOY podcast. Today, I got a new guest on today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? To everybody listening, peace and blessings. I'm Jon Connor, the people's rapper, man.
Hell yeah, man. Let the people know how you got into rapping.
Well, I started rapping probably at like 11, 12 years old. I was always into music because my father does music. You know, he plays the guitar, the drums, the keys, and I grew up seeing him. So music was always in me. But hip hop came through my sister. My sister was a big Tupac fan, Biggie fan. So hip hop came into my house through my sister. And one day, man, she brought home a Master P CD. I heard
Oh,
No Limit Soldiers and it was on. You know, I got inspired, man, just hearing about Master P's story and just the sound that they brought. And at the time, New Orleans, you know, in retrospect, it's like, now we know New Orleans for Lil Wayne and Cash Money and all of that. But in 97, 98, New Orleans was uncharted territory in hip hop. And that's the same way I felt about my city, Flint. And I looked at Master P like if he could have his own sound and create his own thing, being from this city that wasn't necessarily known for hip hop, I felt like it inspired me to be able to say, like, man, maybe I could do the same thing for Flint. So it was like from the second I heard, No Limit and Master P, it inspired me to want to rap. I was always a fan of Biggie and Pac and Nas and all of those cats. But what made me want to rap was when I seen how you could put your city on the map and inspire your city, you know what I'm saying, to do amazing things through the art form of hip hop. So it happened for me at like 11, 12 years old. And from that point, it was just on, man. Like I caught that bug. I always had the music bug, but the hip hop bug came around 11, 12 years old.
damn. That's really cool, because I even seen on your Instagram too, you're still bumping their shit. I seen you were sharing the
Yeah.
Master P, all that shit on there. I was just seeing that, so
You know what's crazy? We just wrapped up a project. It's called 24. And my man, my big homie, KLC, who did like the majority of the big records for No Limit, but much respect to all five of them. There's a production crew, Beats by the Pound, that did all of the production for No Limit at that time. And KL did the big records like Make 'em Say and Bout It. And he did Move Bitch, Get Out the Way for Ludacris. And he did Down for My Ends for C Murder and Snoop Dogg. And me and him just did a project together called 24. So that was like a dream come true for me
damn.
because No Limit was the reason I started rapping. And then here we are 24 years later. I get with the producer that made the beats of the songs that inspired me to start rapping in the first place. So 24 is on the way, man. So y'all please look out for that. But yes, I will always give No Limit, Cash Money, Hypnotize Minds, 3 6 Mafia, Rockefeller. Who else was I a big fan of? I will always give them their props and give them their credit because without them, it would be no me. They inspired me to want to do this.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's really cool. You just never know like what could, come from just, that situation. You were a kid, you heard the music and then now you worked with them. I mean, that's got to be insane for you. I mean, but it's destined to happen, once you start pursuing that route and you keep working and working, shit comes, and throughout your music career, all this shit tracks with all the people that you worked with, all the people that, mentioned your names. Cause I mean, on a lot of your early albums and mixtapes, you had like Buster Rhymes and shit, like, giving you your props and shit like that, So I mean, it's crazy, how far you take it. I mean, what do you think about all this, to where you are now?
I think just stay persistent. To anybody listening, I would just say stay persistent and keep believing in yourself. I think LeBron James said to be successful, your belief in yourself has to be 10 times greater than everybody else in the room's disbelief in you. So I just believe that, just stay persistent, believe in yourself, and let that be your driving force. Don't let money and fame be your driving force. Let the love and the passion of what you do be the driving force, because if you're passionate about something, if you stay consistent with something enough, the money is going to come. The universe is going to respond to whatever it is that you're doing, and you're going to make a living from doing it. So focus on the passion, focus on the love of the art of what you're doing, and you're going to bring in, you're going to be respected by those that you respect. And I think that's what ended up happening with me. I just stayed consistent, stayed persistent with everything I was doing, and then the people that I grew up listening to and respected, you turn it and flip it around, they ended up having respect for me. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a blessing. And I'm always humbled. There's never a point in my life I'm going to get to where those things don't humble me, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I could tell that, by your personality and everything that you said. Like, I definitely agree with you 100% on everything, you know, like it's just crazy, man. You just got to keep staying consistent, and you know, eventually all these results and all this stuff happens. You know, even in my case, you know, with reaching out to you, I mean, I was just like, damn, this is, I mean, to me, you know, you this is like to me, I'm like, holy shit, like this is crazy, you know. But like, you know, to you, it was for like Master P and everybody, but it's just you stay consistent and shit happens, you know, especially with whatever it is you do, everything kind of gravitates to you and you keep pushing. So I agree with you on that, man. Um,
Absolutely.
but you know, kind of going back, you know, to a little bit of your early life, I mean, so what was your first project? Was it The Calling Part 1
That was the first. I'll give you the real.
album?
That was the first project of me being named Jon Connor.
Okay.
So before that, my rap name was Do So, because like I'm named after my father. I'm Jan Kevin Freeman Jr. And so growing up in the neighborhood, they would call me Deuce because I was named after my dad. So
Right.
my first name was Do So. So there's a whole back catalog of my music where my name is Do So. But there came a point where I wanted to separate myself from the music that I did in high school. I wanted to reinvent, and I wanted to just start with a clean slate. So when I was 18, I moved to Orlando, Florida, Winter Park area, to go to Full Sail University. And that was when I made a decision. I was watching the Terminator movie. I became Jon Connor. And, you know, just because I loved that movie and I loved how important that character was to just humanity itself. And I wanted a little bit of that to be in me and what I did with music. And so the first project I came out with as Jon Connor was The Calling Part 1, but there was mad music before that where I was Do So.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, you even mentioned in those past projects too that, you know, you were like 14 years old, you know, in high school, you know, rapping, making
Yeah.
music, and you had your own studio or it was your own label or something, right? And
Well,
when you were
yeah,
14?
yep. Yep, I built my own studio. You know, that was the thing. My mother told me at a young age, she was like, well, okay, if music is what you're going to do, be serious about it, right? So she was like, however much money you earn from selling CDs at school, I'll match it and help you buy studio equipment.
Dang, that's dope.
So I was going to school hustling every day and, you know, stacking my stuff up, which is crazy because you'll be able to see it. We got a documentary coming out called The Road to Legendary. We're probably going to start
Dang,
dropping episodes either early next month or at the end of this month. But
awesome.
you actually, we got all of that footage of me selling CDs in high school and bringing the money home and all of that. And yeah, you get to see like the little studio I made in high school. So yeah, I made my own studio because I never wanted to have to depend on somebody to be able to express my creativity. I didn't want to be at the convenience of somebody else. So I'm like, yo, I want to record all the time. I want to, you know, be able to make music and create whenever I want to. So, and I know now it's pretty commonplace because, you know, everybody got a little studio at their home and everybody know how to use Pro Tools or they know how to use Logic or Fruity Loops. But this is 2001, where
Before
it
all that.
isn't, you know, where it's not like that. Where you got to remember back in that day, man, I remember getting made fun of because I wanted to be a rapper, and times changed. Nowadays, everybody want to be a rapper,
For real.
but it's like, yeah, for me, I just wanted to create as much as possible, and I didn't want to have to be at someone else's mercy for when I wanted to create. So I took all of the money that I made. I didn't buy no BS with it. Every dime I ever made from music in high school and beyond went back into myself, went back into the company, went back into create my own studio.
Damn, that's smart. Investing in yourself right there. You know, and
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
you know, I was gonna say, you know, like that's so true though with anything. Like you want to be able to be self independent, you know, because you like, oh, you're gonna wait on the studio guy, you gotta pay all this stuff. But when you
Right.
have all your own shit, it's just like, all right, cool. You can do it at your own convenience whenever you want to do it for hours among hours on, and it's free to your cost, you know, and like did you make your own beats and stuff back then, or how was it then?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, that was crazy. That was yes. I made all my own beats. It was like
Jeez.
my house was the house that all the kids came to do music. And I
Yeah.
loved making music so much. I was just making beats for everybody. Like
Damn.
that was my joy because also you got to remember like I was coming up a student of hip hop when um it was a super producer driven era where you would have Timbaland who would do all of the production for like a Aaliyah album.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't uncommon for one producer to do a whole album. So also, like I said, excuse me, I was a fan of Cash Money and No Limit. Manny Fresh did all of the beats for Cash Money. So in my mind, that's what a producer was supposed to do. Like, I didn't think that that was crazy. So back then, I was doing all the beats for all of my friends. Anybody
Dang.
that was trying to do an album or a project, I was making all of the beats for them. So I made all of the beats for myself, all of the kids that around me that wanted to make music, any girl that wanted to do R&B, you know what I'm saying? I was making all of the beats because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. You had super producers back then. Like I say, Manny Fresh did all of the beats with Cash Money. Timbaland was doing all of Missy beats or all of Aaliyah beats. You had Swiss Beats, who was doing the the majority of the production for Rough Riders. So for me back then, I just thought that was a part of what it was supposed to be. Like, if I'm a producer, I'm supposed to find artists and do their whole entire project. I just thought that's how it went.
Damn. So was you what came first? Was it the beat making or the rapping?
Beat making. Beat making because, like I said, I wanted to be a musician before I wanted to be a rapper.
Right.
So I started playing on the keyboard before I even figured out what type of music I would do. I remember me and my cousins, we had a band. We was terrible, bro. Like, we had
Gotta
we had a
start
band.
somewhere.
You guys start somewhere, right? And I played the keys for the band in our little band that we had. Oh my god, I hope it ain't no footage of that nowhere. But so it started with me, messing around on the keyboard, and like I said, after that is when I was on the bus, and everybody kept trying to goat me into freestyle. Oh, shit.
It's all good.
Okay, you there still?
Yeah.
They were trying to goat me into freestyling. So I would say just messing around with keyboards and stuff like that came first, and then came rapping.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess that makes more sense then. I mean, so you were able to have more time to produce everybody's, songs and stuff that they wanted. And then eventually you had to kind of branch off from that and just focus on just solely your music or
Well, yeah, because when I was a kid, like I said, watching my father, I knew music was what I wanted to do for a living.
right.
And I feel like back in high school, people were doing music as a hobby. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it was like, everybody started trickling off and doing their own thing. And then I found that at the time, I was the only person that I knew that was as serious about music as I was. So it turned into me just having to rap over my own beats because I didn't know anybody else that was serious enough to keep pushing toward it. So that's how I ended up, becoming a rapper and all of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
Like, it was cool, but that was never my intention. Like, in the beginning, it was never my intention to be I'll say I wanted to be a producer more than I wanted to be a rapper.
Damn.
But it just kind of worked out like that.
Yeah, it's crazy, like you put yourself, or I guess, these things happen around you and they kind of force you to have to be like, okay, well, if I want to continue to make music, I'm gonna have to start rapping now. And then,
Exactly,
I mean,
right.
and you look how far, it went, and, everybody you got to work with, and look at the career you made and look how you're still going. I mean, it's just,
Thank
you,
you.
so you that just from that opportunity, that push, I mean, you just kept going. I mean, it's crazy.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. It's a blessing, man.
Yeah. So I mean, like after that, you started to change your name, right? And you went to Jon Connor. You came out with the Calling Part 1, Part 2, and then what was that looking like? Because you had like mixtapes in between those, or no?
Well, yeah. Okay, so the Calling 1, Calling 2, I was taking Greyhound bus trips and passing out CDs because, like I said, we didn't have social media at that time. It was still a very much so the internet was there, but it wasn't like I don't think we learned yet how valuable the internet would be at that time in the early 2000s, and especially for me, like I just was an underground kid trying to get heard. So with the Calling Part 1 and Calling Part 2. Calling Part 1 happened in 2005, and just for the whole year, and think about this, bro. I didn't have like CD towers and nothing like that. I had one CD burner, and that was on my computer, right?
Yeah.
So I was waking up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was burning CDs one by one. I burned like 5,000 CDs one by one. I treated it like a job. Like, I got up every day at 5 in the morning, and I would be burning CDs till like 7 o'clock at night. And then after I got like 5,000 of them done, I would take bus trips from Michigan to Florida and just pass them out. And then when I got to Florida, I would just go around Florida passing them out. then I would send CDs to my homies in other states and have them help me pass it out. So yeah, that was the process for the Calling 1 and Calling Part 2, that I was on the bus trips all the time, like just trying to get heard, just trying to do anything I could for people to build awareness to my music.
Yeah, I mean it's a whole different time, you know. I mean, because back then you had to take bus trips, you had to actually physically hand it to someone,
Yes,
you know. But now it's just like you put it on social media. Okay, people are scrolling, they watch it. Oh shit, this guy's cool, or you know they'll scroll down, or you know keep going. You
exactly.
know, I mean, but it's less work for you as an artist to have to promote the shit. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think social media has definitely helped you with getting your music out there?
I ain't got to get on a bus no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's cool. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? But no, I think it definitely helped. I think it helped a lot. I definitely do. Like, there's no way to say that it didn't, because like I
yeah,
said, that to have to go hand to hand,
it's
city to
crazy.
city, state to state, and but there was also a plus to having to do it like that as well, because it taught me to have a thick skin when I was handing out CDs. Now imagine this: somebody could leave a comment on your video. Now they say you suck, whatever. You don't have to look at it. When I was giving out CDs, I remember people taking my CDs, looking at it, and throwing it out their car window in my face.
Jesus, that's fucked up.
So that's why I got super, super thick skin now, because it was like, but in that process of being humbled, um it made me a stronger person. It made me be aware. It prepared me. I was built for anything. My feelings weren't I think nowadays, like, people are too sensitive in certain ways.
Yeah,
If they get one bad comment, they don't know how to take it, and they want to fight everybody on the internet.
yeah,
Man, I was getting my CD thrown in the trash in my face, like, you know what I'm saying, and I had to just be like, well, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying. I guess it's on to the next person. So I
yeah,
think it's pros and cons, man, with both of them. I think that the internet and I think social media helped a lot. It helps to get your music, and helps your music to have wings and be able to go to places like now, like, being independent. Is people in Germany and Africa, South Africa, Brazil, that listen to my music,
yeah,
without me having to actually take a plane trip and go. But at the same time, I think that process of that person to person, human to human contact, it made you have to have a charm about yourself to give somebody a CD. You
yeah,
know, that same charm is the charm of when a camera is on you in interviews. You're used to having to charm people or having to be a good salesperson because you used to have to do it face to face. Back in the day, your live performance had to be everything. I think that live performances have suffered a lot because it's like, okay, you become this internet sensation and now you don't really have to put on a show. Back in my day, before that, and I know I sound like an old head, but it was like back in my day, Sonny, you know what I'm saying? Back in
yeah,
my day, when we had to literally earn the respect of the people in the audience. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you wasn't good, they wasn't gonna buy your CD after your show. It just was what it was. But now
right.
the internet kind of lets it, it gives you like this free pass to not have to really work on being a true entertainer to a degree. There are still some out there, but I think that, it's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because with you gain all this experience that other people might not have, coming up as the generation, nowadays. But I mean, I think I remember even, hearing you back. I don't know which mixtape or album it was, but like you kind of even talked about YouTube, like people like the artists, or not the artists, but the labels, using that to go off of, who to pick. You know what I mean? You were saying something like, they don't have to do shit. All they got to do is just
Right.
watch that. Can you kind of break that down? You don't remember? Do you remember that?
Yeah. I think that might have been on the People's Rapper LP, the
Yeah, I
joint
think
where I
so.
took.
Eminem one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was that one.
Yeah, yeah. And it could have been Till I Collapse,
Yeah, I
I
think it might
think.
have. Yeah, it had to have been that one.
Um well, yeah, at the time, and I think it's gotten a little worse now, but it's just a continuation of what I was just saying, that I think that um the actual human to human experience, that being lessened, kind of makes entertainment as a whole suffer. Like, you legit had to know how to put on a show. You had to be a showman. Think of the people that came up in our day. Like, Busta Rhymes is a showman. If you go back and watch early 50 Cent, if you go watch Tupac, if you watch Biggie, like Biggie and Puff with the theatrics on stage, with dressing up in the suits and all of that, It's like you actually put time into thinking about your show. A lot of hip hop artists today, they just like walking back and forth. They don't know the words to their song. They got the song playing, so now it's like they're playing the real record at the same time that the person is supposed to be doing a live show.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
kind of
think I
weird.
could ever like. To me, it's like give me the instrumental and I'm gonna rap over it. That's a part of the show. But I
Right.
just think that now people get a pass because once you become this internet sensation and people already like the song, you don't necessarily have to be a good entertainer anymore. So I mean, it is what it is. But I think that but I won't just be that dude that sounds like I'm pointing out the negatives and things. I think that there are still great entertainers out there. I still think that there are people that put that time into it. But yeah, I think that nowadays it's not so much about people learning a craft or being great at their craft. I think that big corporations and companies, they see something that they can turn a profit off of. They don't care about the longevity in it. People, if like, okay, so this thing is the flavor of the month, we're gonna get them a record deal, and when that fizzle out, we'll give somebody else a record deal. And it's kind of like this assembly line of interchangeable acts that they can kind of hit a lick off of instead of. But think about it like this, and the reason why I think that's a problem is like, think about Kanye West, right? There's only one Kanye West. There'll only ever be one Kanye West
Right.
because he took the time to learn his craft. He's a great entertainer. He's a great producer. He's a great songwriter. So you can't replace a Kanye West. I feel like big corporations sign these rappers or artists that all kind of look the same, sound the same, because they're interchangeable. You
Right.
can't interchange a Kanye West or somebody who actually is a one of one. But all of these other rappers that look the same, sound the same, or whatever, you can replace them with another one, and you never notice that the other dude is gone because we just replaced him with another dude that looked just like him, sound just like him. And I think that's a problem. I think
Right.
that our artists should be those special people. There was only one Madonna. There was only one Michael Jackson. There was only one Elvis Presley. There was only one there, there's only one Beyonce. There's only one Kanye. There's only one Jay. There's only one Justin Timberlake. So I think that that's what suffers is that now I don't know that we truly have superstars anymore. We have just stars that are interchangeable, and I think that's the downside of the YouTube sensation or the internet sensation.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, how would you say how do you tell other people or for yourself how to not be interchangeable? Like how do you make that not happen? What would you say?
Be yourself. That's it. We
Yeah.
are all a one of one. So if you're speaking your thoughts, if you're dressing how you want to dress, if you're speaking your opinions as you see them, nobody can imitate you and you're not imitating anybody else. Be one of a kind. Be you. Don't be afraid to just be yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the key to it. I think Kanye West is being Kanye West. He's not trying to be anybody else, and that's why people gravitate toward him. Michael Jackson was being Michael Jackson, and that's why all of the people that you put in the category of being like superstars, they're just Eminem. He's being himself.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I'm saying?
true.
That's how he felt. Like, I'm saying? And we all gravitated to his opinion and we admired the fearlessness of somebody being themselves. Every artist that we gravitate toward, we're enthralled by the fact that they're fearless in being themselves. So how to not be interchangeable? Just be yourself. Make yourself a one of one. Make it to where nobody can imitate what you do because you're the only one that does it like you. So that's the thing, whether it's your voice, whether it's the production you choose, whether it's your views on life, always make sure you're being 100% authentic to yourself. And then they can never duplicate you or recreate you because nobody has the same mother and father as you. Even if you have a brother, the DNA, the way it lined up was different.
Yeah.
You have different birthdays, you have different experiences. Your life experience is unique to you. So nobody can ever recreate that. But once we get into that mode of, oh, I'll wear my hair like this because that's what's popular. I'll choose this type of beat because that's what's popular. Well, now you're not you anymore. You're just following the trends of what's popular. So it's like, figure out what you like. Maybe you do like trap drums, right? But maybe you like trap drums with like country melodies and soul violins. That's
Yeah.
something that's never been done. And it's what you like. Nobody else is doing it because it's what you like. If you
That's
want to
true.
put a gold star on your forehead and it looks good on you and you confident with that gold star and you want to dye the tips of your hair red, that's what you like, and there'll be nobody else out there with a go. And here's the thing. There's always going to be an audience for what you like, because there'll always be somebody out there that finds the beauty in what it is that you do. There'll always be somebody that relates to your form of expression. So I think people get afraid that, well, what if people don't like this? No, there's an audience out there for anyone. You just have to be brave enough to be okay with the people that aren't fans of what you do. A wise person once said, I don't know the key to success, but I know the key to failure is trying to please everybody. If you try to please everybody, you're going to fail. Just figure out and find your audience. Figure out the people that like what you do and keep giving that to them. And ultimately, it's just you being yourself. And people are gravitating more so to the person that you are.
I agree, man. That's dope. I mean, you really explained it well, because, you know, when you be yourself, no one else can be you, like you said. And I mean, just be who you're supposed to be. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean,
you know, I'm going to share this with you, man, because I just recently, me and my assistant, Lindsay, we was talking, right? And we be in the studio, like watching just different entertainers. That's how I find inspiration, right? I'll watch great entertainers. Right. So the other day we was watching Elvis Presley. And so this just goes into just be yourself, right?
Yeah.
I was born in 1985. So all I ever knew was everything like Elvis impersonators and, you know what I'm saying? People doing like comedians doing Elvis impersonations and all of that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I actually watched the real Elvis Presley the other day. What he does can't be duplicated and it can't be impersonated properly, because when he was doing him, he was just doing him. And everything that came after that just looked like a cheap imitation. There's nothing like being original. So when I watched Elvis Presley, I finally understood why he was a big deal, because before that, I didn't understand. But it was like, wow, he was just being himself. And the world got entranced by someone that was just naturally being themselves and naturally had this charisma. And then it captured the imagination of the world. So you never know, like by just being yourself, what that will trigger in the minds of the rest of humanity.
Damn. No, that's excellent, man. Holy shit. You know, that does make sense, because I never really watched it, you know, as well either, you know, the whole Elvis thing, but you always see the impersonations and all that shit. But like, you know, when
we got bamboozled, man. We was watching these impersonators and we thought that that's really how Elvis acts. So, right. So ultimately those impersonators made us not want to go check out Elvis, because we felt like, oh, I don't want to watch that. Right. Like this dude. But then if you watch the real Elvis, you like, oh, he had the it. He had something in him that by even trying to impersonate it kind of diminishes the greatness that he really was. I feel the same way about Michael Jackson. You can't impersonate Michael Jackson properly, because there are certain nuances and intricacies in that person that can't be imitated. So it's like it almost does an injustice to that person to even try to imitate them.
That's true. It's never been done with either one of them, except, you know, fakers, like you said, comedians, all that bullshit. But yeah, it's never been done again. It can never be done again.
Absolutely, man.
But, you know, kind of back to, you know, your music and stuff. So season 1 and season 2, those came right after those other, shoot, my bad. What was it?
Right, calling one,
yeah,
calling
my
two,
bad,
everybody hates Connor. Yeah.
Kind of froze up, but yeah. So after those came out, I mean, those were also, there was a lot of samples on there, you know, with old school or older music, you know, and stuff. So like, with that being said, like that's kind of how you differentiated yourself, by having your own style and stuff, because you really put those samples in there and you made it different. You made a rap song out of it, and those songs were not even related to rap at all, you know.
Like,
so like
Place on Earth, right? Like
Maniac was on there too.
Maniac, yeah.
Girls just want to
True Colors by Cyndi Lauper, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Yep.
How the fuck did that come about? I like these samples. Like, what brought you to make a rap song out of those?
Well, I went to private school my whole life. I went to St. John Vianney in Flint, Michigan, and I went to Powers Catholic High School in Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a unique upbringing in that I went to private school, which was predominantly white, right?
Yeah.
But then I grew up in the north side of Flint, which was all black. It was the hood. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I've always felt like my sound was the product of my upbringing. It was half of my life I was in the hood and I was around all of this hood stuff. And in the other half of my life, it was very different growing up just around suburban white kids. You feel me? Yeah. So because I had to grow up that way, I was at home. I was hearing Luther Vandross, and I was hearing Gap, and I was hearing Cameo, and I was hearing Marvin Gaye, and I was hearing Whitney Houston and Tupac and Biggie, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I was going to school, and I was hearing Cyndi Lauper, and I was hearing Third Eye Blind and Oasis, and I was hearing just some of everything, man.
That's crazy. No,
So
that makes sense how your style came about then.
exactly. So I had an appreciation for both. I
Yeah.
had an appreciation for the music that I was listening to as a young Black male, and seeing what my relatives and what the hood was listening to. But I also had this appreciation for when I was going to a dance, like, you know what I'm saying, with one of my homeboys, and Don't Fear the Reaper come on the radio, and I'm like, this is kind of hard. I'm like, this is kind of dope, or like what I'm saying, Like a Virgin, or Dress You Up in My Love by Madonna come on, and one of my white friends, they mom listening to I Want to Dress You Up in My Love, and I'm seeing how she reacts, and I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So when I became a musician, I didn't box myself in. I was never boxed into only one type of music. I listened to techno, I listened to alternative rock, I listened to hip hop, R&B, soul. I listened to rock, I listened to everything, because that's what I grew up around, all of those genres of music equally. So when it came to me being a producer, it's even stuff now. Like, I don't think that'll ever go away, but it's like, I can't wait to create this SOS 3 for y'all, because I think everything going forward, I'm probably going to produce it all myself. But it's like, in my production, I was always in tune with both sides of me. Like we'll go back to SOS 2, like Place on Earth. Like, obviously, Place on Earth is something I heard while I was at school or something, like, you know what I'm saying? But then the drums and the bass to it is me growing up around my dad.
Yeah.
So it's like a mixture of both of those. It's everything that I am comes out through my production, which is why from now on I want to produce more going forward.
Yeah, because then you can get the style that your own unique style that you want. Because I mean, look at the stuff that you were doing, back then, with season 1 and season 2. I mean all of it, but I mean it's insane, how you were able to do that, because I've never heard that, even today, I never heard that, and it's dope. How you really came up with that idea, or with that, because I mean you had those two different experiences, growing up.
Thank you. And once again, it just goes back to being yourself,
Yep.
sticking out. Because, man, if you look at it, like I said, every artist that became a superstar, I can't stress that enough. I'm not saying every artist that got a record deal. I'm saying every artist that is special and became a superstar, they were just doing what was in their heart. And we all relate. Like I said, Eminem was being Eminem. That's who he was. He was telling his story. And we all found pieces of his story that we could relate to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Prince was being himself. There was nobody like him before him. And we found pieces in his fearlessness that we could relate to. So for me, it's always been, I just want to be myself. And hopefully through being myself, it'll inspire other people to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And, just by doing that, I'm sure you probably have, inspired a lot of people, because your story is pretty dope, and your unique style and shit. And so how did you promote that? Going with that the same way? Those two albums?
Season 1 and seasons. Okay, too.
Yeah.
Season 1, the seasons, around that time, when I was going around giving out CDs, I had a friend of mine who worked at the radio station in Flint, Club 93.7. His name is Ian, the Real Slacker. So the people that know my albums, the Real Slacker was on a couple of my projects, but that was actually one of my best friends, and he worked at the radio. So it was cool, because whenever like artists would come through the radio station, he would always be like, yo, Connor, you got to come up here. You got to rap for whoever was up there. Like, yo, J. Cole is up here. You got to come up here. Yo, Rick Ross is up here. You got to come up here. So one time I went up there, and an artist was up there, and the label rep for Def Jam was there. His name was Young Sav, Kendall Freeman. He's actually like the vice president of Arista now, the beautiful human being. So I remember me and my partner at the time, Mateen Cleaves, we were going around passing out CDs. So we go up to the radio station, we get the phone call, and we meet Young Sav. Sav fell in love with my music. So now he's introducing me to the internet. He's introducing me to the hip hop blogs. He's introducing my music to different radio stations. He's introducing me to the world in ways that I couldn't because I didn't have the means. I feel like the music industry is very much like a fraternity or sorority where there are certain secrets that you can only know once you're in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was like, at that time, if you was an independent artist and if you didn't know somebody that was in the industry, you really didn't know how to get in. You didn't know how to get to these blog sites or these certain avenues to get your music out there. So when we met Sav, it was just on. So the distribution of season 1 and season 2 came from young Sav pushing my music and getting it out there to the people that needed to hear it.
And did you, at that time, did you ever sign with anyone back then?
No, I was signing myself. I was signed to, All Varsity. What was it? It wasn't All Varsity Music Group back then. I think it was just All Varsity Music. And at the time, it was ran by me, Mateen Cleaves, and Young Sav at the time. So I signed myself to myself at the time, which was like a smart thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. And he was able, that guy even helped you out too, as he just really messed with you as an artist, and he just really wanted to help you, continue to gain.
Absolutely, man. I could never, those two cats, man, changed my life because they took a chance on me when they didn't have to, and they believed in me when they didn't have to. I was nobody at the time. I was still just trying to find my way. And at the time, Mateen Cleaves had been in the NBA, so he had a name for himself. And Young Sav was highly respected, still is highly respected in the music business. So it was two people that I looked up to and admired that took a chance on me and just, did everything they could do to help spread and build awareness about my music.
Damn, that's really dope. I mean, you just were able to find that individual through these connections. Everything kind of gravitates when you keep pushing all the time.
Persistence. Just stay consistent, stay persistent. You'll attract the people into your life that should be in your life to take you to the next level. People like to help those that help themselves. So I think that Sav and Mo saw that I was already on my own, working hard. And you'll always attract people that want to help take you to the next level. If you got a good heart and they see that you're willing to work hard, you're always going to run into people that want to help you and help you achieve your dreams.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look how that shit went down. I mean, that's awesome that guy was able to help you out.
And yeah, absolutely. Shouts to Young Sav. Shouts to Mo Cleaves.
So I mean, like going to 2012, with the Eminem, the People's Rapper, you continue to do the People's Rapper, where you sample, different people's albums, do their whole one, right? Or even, if it's different tracks, but like for this one in particular, you did the whole Eminem one. That one, man, this one was one of my favorite projects you've done. I was just
thank you,
dude, seriously, like, because I'm a fan of Eminem. He was the first rap artist that I heard as a kid, but, so to hear you actually did a whole, EP on this, whole, EPs, that's what you labeled this one, right?
Yeah, the People's Rapper EP. Only it was a playoff of Eminem's thing being called the Slim Shady LP.
Yeah.
The Marshall Mathers LP. I'm sorry. So it was a playoff of that. So yeah.
Yeah, and like to hear you go, I mean, you killed every beat, and like these beats that were actually on there, like whoever produced Eminem's album, I mean, they really did a good job with the whole thing, and you were able to put your lyrics on there. I mean, holy shit, dude, you did a great job on that one.
Thank you.
And so was that like your first one where you did the People's Rapper, where you continued to?
Because the series of tapes, the Best in the World series the Best in the World series started with the Blue album, which was honestly the Blue album was you know what, I'm not gonna say that. The Blue album was the first one, and that came out immediately after season 2, and so the Blue album was all Jay-Z beats, where I took beats from all of the Blueprint albums, and then that was the first one. The second one was Eminem, and then the third one was Kanye West. And then the fourth one was Biggie. And then there's a Nas one that I'm gonna put out this year. And I've been playing with the idea of either doing People's Rapper LP2 or either Tupac or DMX. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on like IG and ask people what they want to hear next.
Fuck, I'd like to hear both.
Yeah, right.
DMX, dude. Damn. No, for real. Those would be dope as fuck.
Word, thank you.
Yeah. And especially with your lyrics and your flow, I mean, they go perfect on their beats. Especially, all Tupac's. I mean, his beats were hard as fuck. But
yes, absolutely.
But I was gonna say, so like, jumping to 2014, with the double XL, how did that, come about? How did they reach out to you, or you reached out to them? I mean, you kind of break that down, how you were on their freshman cover.
Well, I remember in like 2012, 2013, 2011, 2012, I remember being agitated because I felt like I had worked really hard at that time. And we all feel like we was working hard, and I've learned in my older age to stop saying what I deserve or what I feel like I deserve. You deserve whatever happens to you in the process of life. But back then, I was still immature, and I felt like I deserved to be on that cover because I felt like I had put out season 2, Salvation, People's Rapper LP, Blue Album, While You Were Sleeping. It was like all of these projects back to back to back. And I felt like I was being ignored, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. So by the time it finally happened, it was like something to cross off my bucket list or my checklist, because at the time I wanted to have something to show for all of the work that I had put in. It wasn't necessarily that I cared about being on the cover of a magazine. It was just there was something that could bookmark and justify or acknowledge how much work that I had put in at the time. So I just remember my man Sav called me. He was like, "Yo, you might get that cover, B." And I was like, "Word." I'm like, "Okay, that's what's up." And I remember I had to go to New York and I had to talk to Vanessa Sadden. I remember that. And I remember Ty Cannon from Aftermath was with me. And I just remember like sitting and chatting it up with her, and the vibe was pretty cool. And after I left that meeting, I think I knew I was gonna get it. This is so long ago that I'm trying to remember. So if any of the details are scattered, I'm sorry. But yeah, I remember talking to Vanessa Sadden. I remember Ty Cannon was with me from Aftermath. And I remember a couple weeks later, that's when Sav hit me like, "Yo, you gonna get that cover, B." And so for me, it was just like, this is cool. This is a culmination of all the work that I put in on the underground. It's like finally all my hard work is being acknowledged. I'm not doing this for nothing. But ultimately, I would learn, as long as you're creating art to help people, it's never for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Whoever you help, every person you help is your reason. But that's how I felt at the time. So it was cool.
Right. No, that's really cool. I mean, that it all went down like that, and you did great in that freestyle, man. You did really, really good. And
Thank you.
and what was one of the best things that came out of that to you?
Mm, just the experience of knowing that it was another time where it was like you can manifest your goals.
Yeah.
Like being on that cover was something that I wanted to do, and then I did it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, wow. It made me be like, so let me try to manifest something bigger now.
Yeah.
Let me allow myself to want more. Let me allow myself to shoot for higher stars. Because coming from Flint, Michigan, you know how long it's been since somebody from Flint, Michigan had made an impact on hip hop or
Was it
been on the cover of a magazine? Like far as hip hop, we had the
MC
Dayton
Breed?
Family, Top Authority, MC Breed, Project Born, and these cats, like they had their runs like in like the early 90s before a
Yeah.
long time
Yeah.
that like nobody really was paying attention to Flint. So I kind of came in a time where nobody was rooting for Flint. So for me to aspire to be on that freshman cover being from Flint, it was like it was a big deal for my city. It was a big deal for me. It was something that almost we believed that wasn't possible, because we in Flint, we would see artists get to a certain point and then kind of plateau. You plateau, and they couldn't get past a certain hump.
Mhm.
And for me being on that freshman cover was like, wow, like it's possible. That was the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me on the freshman cover. Like the biggest thing that came out of that for me was knowing that anything is possible. If you set a goal and you work hard enough at it, then you could achieve anything. There's nothing too big or nothing too small. And it's like, don't limit yourself to what you can have while you're on this earth. Allow yourself to want more, because if you work hard enough, you can receive it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's true, because anything can happen to anybody, and anybody can make whatever they want to do happen. So they can really apply that to whatever they do. What was, going to the XXL? I mean, did it open any opportunities or doors for you?
Well, by that time I had already signed the Aftermath. So it's like, um, I think that for me, people normally, or I don't know how it normally goes, but for me, it would seem like I got the cover and then I got signed to Aftermath, but it kind of happened in reverse. So my opportunity far as being signed to a record label came before I was on that cover. So it was like I was already in the process of creating an album on Aftermath when I got the Freshman cover. So it was like my opportunities or whatever had already hit me before I got on the cover.
Okay, so that's dope then. So that was even before. I mean, I would have thought, it would have definitely came after the, the freestyle and being on there and shit. So how did you get signed, to Aftermath?
Well, that came when I was doing the whole best in the world and I was gaining momentum and people started, being interested in me. And I remember Exhibit hit me on my Twitter and he said his son was a fan of my music. And I ended up going on a Canadian tour. It was the Collateral Damage tour. And we went on tour together. And I remember Exhibit always would say, yo, when I get in position, I'm going to help you out. And so some time went by and he called me one day after my album Unconscious State had charted on Billboard. He had hit me and like, yo, I got an idea. I'm going to let Dre hear your music. Long story short, Dre likes the music. I ended up going to California and ended up being out there for 6 years. And thus started the Aftermath experience for me, man. So that's how it happened for me. Just like I say, hard work. It was just hard work and dedication to the craft. It was when I was on stage, when I went on tour with Exhibit, like I'm not a smoker or a drinker. I don't smoke or drink. I might sip on a special occasion, but that's not my thing. When I was on tour with him, it was how I conducted myself when I wasn't on stage. It was like I would go on stage and do what I did and perform. But after that, I wasn't causing no bunch of trouble. I'm a pretty easygoing person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always tell people, you only on stage for like 1 hour out of your day. There's 23 more hours of your day where you have to be a good person, where your character has to show through. So I think that Exhibit dug the quality of my character and that it also matched the intensity that I would put into my performance. So it was like that made him want to go tell Dre about me and then boom. That's how it happened, man.
Damn. So were you pretty excited when you got signed to Aftermath? I'm sure.
It was such a because that's one of those things that not everybody has that story. I knew that from that point forward, there were going to be details about my life that I was going to be the only one who could relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't know nobody, man, bro. I never even met nobody who met Dr. Dre before that. Before I met Dre, I never met nobody that met Dre. I used to look at Dr. Dre like he was like an alien that lived on another planet or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, and like I said, I'm from Flint, Michigan. I'm from a very humble city. I'm from a place where, it ain't no palm trees. It ain't no super big skyscrapers. It's not none of that. So for me to get taken from that environment and being put as high as you can go in the music business, as far as hip hop, you don't get no higher than Puff, Jay-Z, and Dr. Dre. And now like a Kanye West, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I knew that it was going to change my life. I definitely knew that.
Yeah, and like what was, I guess, the beginning stages of being there? Like, what did they have you doing right away when you got signed? Were you producing
writing
beats?
Songs,
just completely
songs, writing. I remember for my deal to be finalized and for me to get the okay that it was cool for me to get signed, Dre left me in the studio. I think at the time he was going to like China or something with like LeBron James or something like that.
Something crazy.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I remember he left me in the studio with 13 beats and I had 2 days. And he was like, when I come back, I want to hear what you got. Dang. So I wrote 13 songs in 2 days.
What the fuck? God damn.
And so when he got back, he was like, yeah, all right, superstar, how many songs you got? I said, 13. He said, get the fuck out of here. I was like, nah. And I had ideas and songs for each of those beats. So that was the first thing. It was like just that boot camp of, I guess, him seeing like, okay, is this dude just a rapper or can he make songs? Where it was him trying to figure out, what were my strong points and what were my weaknesses. And I'm the type of cat I love being in the studio. So putting me in the studio is like, putting a fish in water. It was what I always loved to do. So
it was nothing. It was nothing.
Yeah,
it was regular.
Nothing. So it was like I'm gonna hit this out the park, writing songs. I've been writing songs since I was 11. So it was like, cool, let's do it. And also when I was 11, I was the kid that I was writing raps for everybody in my neighborhood. So
Oh
since
shit.
I started rapping, I have been writing for other people. So writing for other people or writing an abundance of music was never difficult for me.
Yeah, no. I mean, did you ever come to record any of those songs then?
Did I record any? Oh, did they actually become real songs?
Yeah, yeah,
The first 13 that I did?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I don't think they did. They probably somewhere on a hard drive
For real?
at Aftermath. Yeah, I don't think those songs. Yeah, because now, like I say, it's so long ago. I'm trying to even remember what songs they were. But I did. What's funny about that is one of the beats. Man, one of those beats ended up on a very big artist album. And I
Really?
was like, oh, snap. I wrote to that back in 2013. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But that just goes to show that good music is timeless. But it was a beat, one of the original beats that I wrote to get signed to Aftermath, ended up on a really big artist project. And it was actually kind of cool for me to hear. I was like, wow, that's cool that beat actually ended up in the world.
Holy shit. So yeah, so they eventually, yeah, so that's fucking insane. You don't remember who the artist was?
I do, but I don't know that it would be. I don't think that would be tasteful for me to say.
Oh, okay. Okay, I
Yeah.
feel it. Yeah, yeah. So I guess, after that happened, you were making music, left and right. Like, did you make a bunch of songs while you were there that, didn't never come out, or, what was going on?
Say that again.
When you were there, did you release or not release a bunch of songs? Did you have a bunch? Because from what I read, that it says you never ended up dropping an album off there. Did you drop any tapes or any songs while you were there?
The tapes that came out while I was there was the Kanye tape and the Biggie tape, and like I did a couple features while I was there, but like the biggest thing was I was all that time that I was there, and which like I say I got to keep plugging the documentary. Y'all will get to see that, and also I have so much footage from my time and my whole journey in music. I'm gonna do a webisode show called Tales of a Tumbleweed because it's like I have so much footage and so much cool stuff for y'all to see. But like everything I did was working on the album. Like you know what I'm saying? So I didn't do like a lot of random songs at that time. Everything I did during those 5-6 years was very specific. Everything I did was for that album. So it's like Dre got a whole bunch of Jon Connor music or unreleased Jon Connor music. Maybe one day they'll open the vault, but none of that stuff ended up coming out. It's just there.
Can you speak on why some of it didn't come out?
I think that's a Dre question. That's like an Interscope Dre question. I always looked at it like I'm an artist. My job is to make art, and it's the record company are the people that decides to put stuff out, don't put stuff out. So I think that's more of an Interscope Dre question because
Oh,
I
okay.
truly don't even have an answer.
So you after that, I guess, were you able? How long you were on there? 5-6 years, right?
Yep. I signed in 2013, and I think I left in 18, but I think I truly was gone after all of the paperwork and stuff in 2019.
Oh, damn. Yeah. So fairly recent. So, I mean, what was,
Mm-hmm.
kind of the mindset, coming off there? Were you just like, okay, I'm ready to go independent so you can release, at your music as you please? Or, what was, kind of the reasoning?
Well, yeah, like for me, I think that nothing like I say, all love and respect because me and Dre have talked since I left. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So me and him always on cool terms and all of that. But I think I'm just not a artist that's meant to be confined to a big corporation. I'm an Aries, so my nature is to be able to do what I want when I want. If I want to make a song tonight, I want to put it out tomorrow. I don't want nobody to be able to tell me I can't. Like you know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
know that when it comes to these big corporations and labels, it's so much more involved than just you make a song and put it out. There's
Yeah.
these groups of people that actually get paid to sit and try to strategize and come up with what's best for you and try to figure out. And it's like, that's cool because that works like for some artists, but then other artists thrive by trusting their own instincts. And for me, everything good that ever happened to me involving music came from me and my faith and trusting my instincts. So it's like, I just think that I'm not a major label dude. I'm a guy that needs to be in control of his own destiny. I don't like to be told what to do just in any facet ever since I was a kid. It's like I've always felt like I know what's best for my life, and I never was defiant. So I don't want that to come out like that. Like in my time on Aftermath, it was like I was a team dude. Like it was like, okay, I'm gonna trust this process, but I think that the process just probably wasn't for me,
Yeah.
and I think that's the best way I could say it. I think that that process wasn't for me, and I think I was just ready to, more important than anything, I was just ready to keep that connection with the people that were fans of mine and supporters of mine. And I wanted to be able to keep that connection. I love performing. I love putting out music. I love giving people new music. I love being able to, and even if people don't fuck with whatever it is that I do, right? I'm not afraid of taking a misstep. I'm not afraid of putting a song out and people being like, oh, I ain't feel that one as much as I feel this one. Well, now I'm learning. But if
Yeah.
I'm just sitting on a shelf at a record label and I'm not even being able to put out music to gauge my missteps or where I'm growing, now I feel like I'm just being stagnant. And if you're not
Yeah.
growing, you're dying. I like living too much to sit somewhere and just die. So the thing is, for me, it was like, you know, I want to be able to take those steps and put music out and be allowed to grow with my audience. And it's a beautiful thing to be independent again.
Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt. I mean, you really can't learn anything if you're on, like you said, a shelf. I mean, there's no way to, continue to make music, learn like, okay, oh, did I do good on this track, or what did I do wrong on this? I mean, you can't
Exactly.
if it
You
ain't
feel
coming
me?
out. Yeah, no. So I
Yeah,
get,
you feel me? That's
yeah,
how I felt. You know, that's how I felt. I at least want the opportunity to bump my head so that I can learn, you know?
yeah, yeah. And then you definitely went through it, and now you're independent again. So the first album I think you came out with was SOS, right, in 2020.
Yes.
So how was that? What was how were you feeling when you're dropping this? What
It
was the
felt amazing.
I'm
What?
sure. Yeah, because it was like how many years since or not, or how many years was it for since another album has.
Yeah, you know, Unconscious State was 2013 and SOS was 2020.
Damn.
You know?
Yeah.
So but and if we count we could do this though. The Kanye tape and the Biggie tape was 2014. So we'll give it another year, right?
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
say so the last time I was able to just give freely to the public was 2014. And
Yeah.
then going through paperwork and da 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 and getting released, 2020 was when I could release music again. So I felt great. SOS2 SOS1, when I listened to it, just sounds like an artist that was just happy to be able to connect with people again. And I
Yeah.
was just like, it's stuff about SOS1 when I listened to, like, oh my God, I wish I could change this or do that. But I didn't care. It was
Yeah.
just, I want to put this out. I don't care. I'll make a 7-minute song. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll make something that sounds like that. I don't care. I just want to be able to give something to the people who've been supportive of my music. So that was the overall feeling. And that's why that album is filled with so much gratitude from the
Yeah.
beginning. Like there's like 4 songs on there called Thank You.
Yeah. The
You know what I
intro.
mean?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
intro, like it was just like a kind of just like an instrumental to start, and then the second track, was like actually you rapping on that beat, and then it was just
Yeah,
really
man.
good. It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
man. I just was so thankful that like producing that song Thank You and being able to have my sister Kelly Price like sing on it was amazing, because that's truly how I felt. That album is just my gratitude for all of the people that during my time on a major label, they didn't understand why I wasn't coming out with music. I'm the dude that was putting out music every 2 months. So they
Yeah.
didn't understand what the hell is going on. So it was my way of saying, like, even though y'all don't understand exactly the details of what was going on, thank you for never giving up on me or losing faith in me, because music is all I've ever wanted to do since I was a kid. That's what feeds my soul, is feeding people and inspiring people. And to not be able to do that, it was eating me alive more than people know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure because you really wanted to just keep putting your music out. So yeah, it had to really eat you inside, but now you're independent again, and now you can actually do these things. So that's awesome, man. And just keep pushing, keep putting these music out. What would be like what would be something that you would tell your younger self, when you were, say, 14 years old, coming up with these music and these songs, like what advice would you give yourself at that age
Um,
that you wish you would have knew now, or that you've learned with all the knowledge and everything?
um, don't rush. Care about the business as much as you care about the music. And everybody's heart isn't as big as yours.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Because you know, you might be open arms, you know, to someone with all your heart, and then they'll be like, ah, you know, like they won't be the same way back to you, you know. So I mean, just I mean that's good, you know, because everything goes. You would think everything goes both ways, but some situations it don't, you know, where it ain't a 50-50 relationship or whatever, you know. But I agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, did you have anything else that you wanted to add? You know, because I think I covered, you know, pretty much everything I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Oh man. I guess just first and foremost, thank you, man. Thank you, and I hope we get to do this again after SOS 2 comes out and the
Yeah.
docu-series comes out. And if you got any questions, man, it's a pleasure. You got a good spirit, man. So
Thank you.
I appreciate kicking it with people that got a good heart. But I guess the last thing I'll say, just to all your listeners, if you haven't ever heard of me or my music, please check it out. I'm greatly appreciative. Go to my link tree, man, and get some Jon Connor merch. SOS 2, we looking at trying to put that out at the end of this month or early next month. That's going to come with the Road to Legendary docuseries. It's a 5-part documentary where you get to see all of those, everything you just asked me about. The first time I rapped for Dr. Dre, I have it in the documentary. Me going through the Flint water crisis, me battling dudes in high school. Like, you get to see all of that in the documentary. After that, I did that project with my man KLC 24. I'm currently working on a project with my man DJ Silk called 413. The Nas tape is coming. His
You got a busy
SOS 3.
year. SOS
Yeah,
3
I
too.
gotta, we gotta make up for lost time, man. And
Yeah.
so all of these things are on the way. And I just want to say thank you to anybody who's ever listened to my music or believed in me. I want to thank you and repay you by giving you just an abundance of creativity. And that's what I'm gonna do.
Damn, man, that's awesome. You know, thank you also again for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank
You
you.
know, and thank you, you know, for putting all your music out, you know, because I really like it. I can't wait to see what all the shit you got coming out this year. It sounds like you got a pretty busy year.
Yeah, I hope you dig it, man. I hope y'all dig it, man. I hope the people dig it, man. And we just gonna keep growing with each other, man.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you again, man. I appreciate you.
Oh no, thank you. And no, yeah, everybody follow me on social media
Oh
at
yeah.
Jon Connor Music. JONCONNORMUSIC. So yeah, man. Like, I
Uh,
look forward to doing this again, man.
yeah, yeah. Just like I got your Instagram stuff. I'll send you a message. I also got your assistant's number too, you know, so you know, whenever I guess you feel like you want to do another one, or I feel like I'm ready, you know, I guess, you know, because you said you're gonna want to do it after the documentary and shit, then yeah. I mean, whatever you feel best with. I mean, I'm always down for another one, man.
Well, yeah, let's make it happen, man. It's a pleasure.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Cool, man. Appreciate you, man.